Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this little fan concert celebration of 50th anniversary, Diamonds Are Forever, and the 40th anniversary of For Your Eyes Only. We thought it would be a really great way to round out 2021 with the three of us having a celebration of these two films. Whether or not they're your favourite films, in fact, I think these two films probably wouldn't come in the top one or two for most people, but that's fine. They're still brilliant films. They're still part of the series. And today's going to be all about fun and positivity and talking about the things that we love about these films. Great opportunity for you to get involved in the comments as we go through. Tell us what you think, what you like about these films. We've got little bits of sections we're going to talk about as we go through. And as we go through as well, we're going to have some cues from both films. We've got about 6 different tracks from Diamonds and 8 different tracks from For Your Eyes Only. So lots of music from Cue the Music and lots of chat from these two superstars joining me on the stream. Let me introduce you, David Zaritsky from the Bond Experience.
Hello, Warren. Hello, everybody. How are you all doing?
Very, very good. And of course, the one and only JW from James Bond Radio, who is muted at the moment. JW.
That's exactly how we like him. Don't tell him to unmute.
You do it.
There he is.
What's up, guys? How you doing, everybody? So excited to be here talking about what is my favorite films.
Oh, well, there you go then. What do I know?
Start with the controversy right out of the gate. What do you mean Diamonds isn't in your top?
You'll have representatives on both sides, Warren, I think.
I'm looking for my team. Where's my team?
Absolutely. But you know what? A film doesn't like these films don't have to be your favorite to still be brilliant films. And I watched both of these films this week in preparation for this. And it's been a while since I watched them and reminded just how much I really enjoy both of them. Well, we're going to start for the first hour or so. We're going to focus purely on Diamonds. So tell me a little bit about what Diamonds is for you as a film. I'll start with you, David.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, let me just start off by saying I wanted to make this as immersive as possible. So I'm literally in front of my Diamonds Are Forever display, and we'll talk about that later. But I dressed up in his outfit, the brown and black tweed jacket, the black shirt, making mud pies 007 in the beginning. I got the whole thing on. I'm drinking some whiskey that he drinks in the film. I'm fighting a little bit of, cheers, everyone, cheers. I'm fighting a little bit of laryngitis. About 2 days ago, I called Warren up and I sounded like Demi Moore after a bender, but it's back. But I'll tell you what, here's how I tell people about Diamonds Are Forever. And I actually caught it the other day like you did, Warren, totally by accident. I loved it. And I'll tell you why. When I want a refined dinner and meal, like everything's perfect about the meal, I'll watch Casino Royale. If I want a meal that doesn't end very well, I'll watch No Time to Die. But if I want gooey cheese pizza, and I mean gooey cheese pizza, that it's just like beer and cheese falling over your face, I'm going to watch Diamonds Are Forever because it's a guilty pleasure. And sometimes you need that. And I used Diamonds Are Forever as a palate cleanser of some of the seriousness that we've been having around Bond lately. So it was great.
Yeah. What about you, JW? I know your Diamonds is a big one for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, when I was young and it was the movie that was coming on the Sunday night choice by ABC, I think I threw a tantrum because it was so bad. But later in life, I've learned to love this film. I mean, it's my birth year Bond. It's my local Bond. And hands down, without a doubt, no question about it, it is the Bond film that in, I'd say, the last 10 years I've watched the most.
Wow.
I get so much pleasure out of watching this film. It brings me so much joy. It's just so much fun. It's ridiculous. And you've got to embrace that. We've got the No Time to Die. By the way, I had in my mind, I was thinking, how long before one of us bring this up? David, I love that you got it in right away. But, there's no worse double feature than Diamonds Are Forever and No Time to Die. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the worst thing ever. But I'm in team Diamonds Are Forever, man. I just think it's so much fun and it brings me joy and I love it. And I'm so excited to be talking about this film and the music. Yeah,
well, we're talking about the music. We've got to touch on the music before we have another cue. But tell me about your feelings about the soundtrack, John, because I know the soundtrack's another big one for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Diamonds is my number one song, close to number one soundtrack, maybe top 3 for sure. It puts me in a good mood. The loungy Bond, right? It's just playful. It's, you can put it on. There's not a lot of doom and gloom. I just later in life, as I move through my day, I put on diamonds and the big smile happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just brings me again so much joy. It puts me in a good mood, and I'll take anything that puts me in a good mood.
Yeah, I have a similar thing with the music, and actually my evolution with the music is very different than the film. Like John, it probably in the last 8 years I've grown to really, really like Diamonds Are Forever, much more than I did when I was a younger man. But I've always loved the music, and that's due to my father. My father used to play the record all the time. And he was big because I think Bill Koenig just said it. Bond was back. His Bond is Sean Connery. And after George Lazenby, this was a palate cleanser, no matter how campy we think it is. But our household always had the record playing. So we always had the main song. We always had even the sub song. So when I hear the soundtrack now in correlation to the movie, it's like a taste of my childhood.
Yeah.
Well said.
I think one of the things I find with the Diamond soundtrack is that I don't know about you guys, but I find it's almost very compartmentalized into two different types of music. You've got all the kind of Vegas-y stuff, and then you've got Barry's more orchestral Bond stuff. And it's quite a dark score, that side of it. And I love the dark Barry stuff, particularly Thunderball. And Diamonds, I think, is quite a dark score in those places. And I really love all of the orchestral stuff for Diamonds. But one of the things I think that people don't ever really talk about with the Diamond score is that the opening sequence, Barry's probably the one I think who's channeling the continuation of Majesty's more than everybody else, because one of the first things that you get in the score is that bum bum bum, which is obviously a shortened version of the da 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 da. And I think that's Barry's nod to the fact that, that's Bond on the revenge mission looking for Blofeld. And I think that I'm surprised more people don't kind of mention that, because it's really quite well signposted by John Barry there. But
he's so relaxed and so confident in this soundtrack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By the time he gets the diamonds, having done everything that came before, he just feels really at ease.
Yeah, even the music when he is on a revenge mission, it opens up with a revenge mission. You've got the guy going, Cairo.
Is that screen accurate, David?
I'm gonna be like Carrot Top. I'm like the Carrot Top of James Bond, where I'll be like throwing out props every now and then. It's going to be embarrassing.
Well, I tell you what, let's kick off some proper music from Diamonds, and really the only way that we can with the title theme. Here it comes.
Diamonds are forever. They are all I need to please me. They can stimulate and tease me. They won't leave in the night. I've no fear that they might desert me. Diamonds are forever. I don't
So we're back. So the first little subject that we're going to touch on with Diamonds Are Forever is a bit of a chat about the cast. And I thought what we'd do is we'd each kind of give one performance that we really like from it. Now, it can be the main character if you want. It can be one of the sort of supporting cast, whatever you like, really. So I'm going to throw it over to you, David, first, and say, you know, what performance do you enjoy in this film?
Yeah, the first thing I want to point out before I get into that is what people can't see is when we go into the green room in between the music, all of us are going like this to the music. You're probably doing it at home. I saw Warren going like this. John's sitting there because, you know, he goes off into, you know, JW world. And I'm sitting there doing what Carrie's doing. So we're having a blast too. But this is going to sound like a cop-out. I'm going to actually choose Sean Connery. And there are many people, there are many people that say that he was kind of sleepwalking, that he was out of shape. What I liked about his performance, and again, just seeing it like a week and a half ago, was he just doesn't look like he can be bothered. And that's what I want Bond to be like. I want Bond to be like Daniel Craig in Quantum of Solace, where, you know, he throws keys around. He's like, ugh, I can't be bothered. Like, you know, people are attacking him. I can't be bothered. You know, girls are coming on to him. I can't be bothered. Bond should be so cool that the world just envelopes around him. And he comes off as it's almost like too cool for school in this. So I've grown to really appreciate, maybe because I'm actually quite a bit older right now than he was in that film, which is just mind blowing. You could probably tell by the gray and the beard, but I'm going to choose Sean Connery and James Bond.
Yeah. I was talking to someone about this the other day, and I know that a lot of people say that he looks, you know, disinterested in the film and everything else. And when I was watching the other day, I really didn't get that at all when I kind of watched it again after a little while. But the thing that I always feel with this film that I do feel about him is he just looks a lot older than the earlier films. And I think that's maybe where people feel like that, is that he just maybe looks a lot older. Certainly in his face. I mean, God, he's the oldest 40-year-old you've ever seen in your life.
It's amazing. By the way, License to Queer, do you mind if I just kind of pop onto his thing?
Yeah.
So he's got a perfect thing. Sean Connery is the essence of, and I'm going to say it wrong because I'm not Italian, the spezzatura, which is a nonchalance. Like, you know, I don't care, and therefore I am so cool. That's a perfect way to say it.
I think his performance is extremely nuanced. I mean, little glances, little nods, shoulder shrugs. If you really look, he's fantastic. And, you know, it's got to be pointed out, too, that he came back to a role that he was done with. Made a record-setting paycheck and donated it.
Yeah.
No, come on, man. Like, you know, he's not the Panther from Dr. No, but I love a little roll on Connery, you know? I mean, it's just like, I think he looks cool as hell, you know?
What's your performance that you like in JW?
Oh, I mean, you know, look, I mean, Jill St. John.
I've got her down as my back.
I love me a bit of Jill St. John. She was in a movie either right before or right after. I think right before with Frank Sinatra called Tony Rome. And I mean, I hate to say it, whatever, but Jill St. John in a bikini. Come on now. She is a lovely
Jill
creature.
St. John, the one in the first half of the movie or the one in the second half of the movie?
I like the one in the second half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I that's a good point.
I mean, with the machine gun, you know, like when no one shoots a machine gun in a bikini. Like Jill St. John, seriously.
But I love that, but it's two very different. Like Jill St. John seems like a competent person up until halfway, and then she turns into a bumbling sidekick.
When she says blow up, what was it? Blow it out your pants. That's where the shift is.
Blow it out your pants, Charlie.
Yeah. No, that little kid, that's my favorite performance, actually, that she says that too. Who wins the water balloon, you know?
So I did have her down in case somebody nicked the one I was going to go for as my favorite, but I've got Winston Kidd down, Bruce Glover and Potter Smith. And I think actually as Bond villains, they're so great, and they're so different to some of the other ones where they're kind of like real kind of muscle bound henchmen. These guys are just really chillingly evil. And obviously the performance is brilliant as well, and you kind of get bits of humor and all of that side. But they are just really, you know, the kinds of people in life that you just cannot account for. They are just completely mental and deranged kind of killers, and I think they're fascinating to watch in this film. And something obviously as well that I thought I really should mention. I mean, I watched this a lot as a kid, and it wasn't until I was much older that I even picked up that they were actually obviously, lovers or partners or whatever. And I was thinking, could you imagine if we had two Bond henchmen that in one of the latest films that were gay? I mean, that would be so controversial. And then here they were doing it in 1971, and I think it's brilliantly done. And I think those two are absolutely outstanding.
Yeah,
I love
Bruce Glover is amazing. Such a nice guy, and so generous to the community as well.
Oh.
But yeah, you're right. They're fantastic. As soon as they come on the screen, you put the phone down, stop doing what you're doing, and you watch these guys.
And the music that goes with them.
Yes,
music is so perfectly I can't even look at them as separate actors in any other film now without hearing that famous music. I'm sure we'll hear.
Yeah.
Well, shall we hear a bit? I haven't got it next on our little list, but I'm going to put it next. This is Winston Kid, and if you're interested to know, we performed this live a few weeks ago at a concert in Folkestone, and I recorded and videoed it just so that we could have it for this little performance tonight. So this is Mr. Wint and Mr. Kid going into Bond Goes to Holland. That's not it at all, is it? Let's try the. There's no doubt about it. That is one cracking piece of music, isn't
Yeah.
it? Genius of
That
John.
saxophonist is deadly.
Yeah,
It was
and
amazing.
so is the stand-up bass in
Yeah.
that as well. You know, those two guys, the sax and the stand-up bass, pretty killer.
Do they do music like this anymore? I mean, that is so well written, and it almost visually tells a story just through sound. It's insane.
Yeah.
The thing about John Barry, I was going to save this point for one of my things later on, but literally every single note he writes is pure melody. There's nothing wasted. It's all, everything has a hummable kind of memorable tune to it. Everything, every single element, if it's the main melody or the counter melody or the bass line or even just the accompanying marimba, somebody put it in the comments, it's just going dun 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 dun. It's just so memorable, every single part of it. It's just amazing writing. But moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about locations next. And I'm a bit jealous here because I'm thinking that both of you have at some point visited at least a couple or a few locations on this one, and I haven't. So we'll start with telling me if that's the case. I know you have, JW. So what about you? You've visited a couple.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of this was filmed in Palm Springs, and that's, you know, near and dear to my heart. And I recently, back in September, lifelong dream, I purchased a place there. And when I walked out, when I was looking in this one area, one complex, Aquatillo Lodge, I walked out onto the patio and I looked up, and from my patio, you can see the Elrod house. And I looked at the lady and said, I'll take it. And I overpaid, and that's okay. Also, the pool, hey, that's my wig. What's my wig doing in the pool? Is actually Kirk Douglas's house in Palm Springs. That's not Las Vegas. And one Modernism week, they opened it up. Now, they don't like, it's a private residence. They don't like you sitting on their furniture. And they have people around to make sure you don't do that. But the actual patio pool furniture is the same that Connery sat in. And I said, you got to let me do this. You know, screw Spartacus. I'm here for Bond. And the lady, like, when no one was looking, let me lay down, and I got, you know, I held the program and got the same shot as Connery reading the Time magazine. So yeah, I mean, that's my finish line. So I love this. And David, I know we've always talked about this. It's like getting into the Elrod house, holding a Diamonds event there, you know, like, oh man, that's my dream come true. It's my piece, Gloria. So
we need to get past Trina Parks though.
I saw that. Yes.
Yes.
I lived in Palm Springs for many years. She will be there for sure.
Yeah.
If we ever get that event together.
She was watching. I don't know if she still is, but she was watching a little while ago. So yeah,
It's
hello,
good to have a celebrity in the room, Trina.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
So mine is within driving distance of John's choice, and I knew he was going to choose Palm Springs, as he should, since he's a citizen of that place. Mine is Las Vegas, and it's not that Las Vegas is exotic and it can be a bit downtrodden at times. To me, it's so synonymous to this movie. When somebody says Diamonds Are Forever, I immediately think, you know, Shady Tree, and I think Las Vegas, and I think, you know, the funeral home, and those are the indelible images, again, that I had as a kid that I carry nostalgically as an adult. They utilized Vegas to the hilt so perfectly here that it does become a totally acceptable Bond location, even though people in Vegas are more interested in buffets. But I love the way they utilized it. And so I'm going to choose Las Vegas as my standout location. Maybe not the number one I'd want to visit again.
Yeah.
But definitely one that I can appreciate.
That aerial shot, I think it's either coming or into or leaving the gas station of what is now the Strip. And you see all that land that got developed. It's out of control. Like, it always makes me like, just, I don't know. I go, oh my God, look at all that land that billions of dollars worth of casinos are now parked on. What do we got there?
We got Shady Tree's National Program.
For sure.
I haven't changed my act in 40 years.
Fantastic. And speaking of not changing, if you go into Circus Circus, it really hasn't changed.
Yeah, I've heard it's looking a bit run down though.
It's awful. I went in there.
Literally, if you go into Circus Circus, and this is a little tip for everybody, they actually, in many ways, are using some of the same cards that you see in the film. So you could walk out with an actual prop from the movie. This one's signed by Plenty O'Toole, though. So that's a little different.
Ooh.
Wow. Well, as we've mentioned Circus Circus, Let's play a bit of Circus Circus.
Oh.
Let's hope I start the right one this time. Circus Circus. Oh, that's a nice relaxing one, isn't it? Hey.
Yeah, you got to give it up for the band members, the musicians. Your interpretation of these songs is it's amazing. Oh. Yeah, it's well done, Warren. I mean, to everyone on that stage, it's just beautiful.
This was one we did in lockdown and brought the strings in for, and it was at this point in the sessions when we did this track when I was like, oh my god, those strings are divine. I'm so glad I spent the extra money to get them in for this, because it just works so well for that track.
But you know what? Here's a testimony to what you do in your creativity. So this is a great remark. Pike Bishop says, nice new ending for Circus Circus. Like, even the nuances that you do in the creativity, people notice that. That's huge.
Yeah, that's always a problem, actually, because it fades out on the original. And of course, when you're doing it live, you can't unless the sound engineer, you can't even really you can't do it even with the sound engineer just bringing the fader down, because you've got drums and brass and stuff that can't do that. So you have to come up with an ending. It's like when we do Surrender, it's a similar thing, because that fades out on the original. So we had to come up with our own ending for that. But so what's next then? We've got the next little section to talk about is the sort of story and plot of Diamonds, and just sort of feelings and thoughts about that. JW, you're obviously a massive fan of this film, so does it really draw you in, the story of this and the plot of this one?
Yeah, it does actually. It's one of the Bond storylines that I enjoy following. When it's the diamonds are exchanging hands, and I love sort of the paper trail of the story. I think I understand it. Some of them I'm like, wait, what's going on? Toppling missiles, what's happening here? But this one I can follow, and I enjoy following it. I think that that's Tom Mankiewicz, correct? Is that right? Wrote it? Is that right?
Bill Koenig is commenting a lot. He's going to dive in and help us out here.
Yeah, I think it's a great script. Is my point. Somebody help me out here. Tom Mankiewicz. I thought it was Tom. Am I crazy? Am I making that up? Maybe so.
I just can't remember.
So I enjoy it. I think it's a great story. I think it's fun, and I love sort of the ridiculousness of getting the diamonds up into space. There we go. Oh, yes.
That's
all right.
1 point to you, JW.
Still got it.
Pretty good.
So yeah, I dig it. I dig this story, man. It's fun, following diamonds around, the deserts of America in 1971. I'm in.
I suppose in a way it starts off, it doesn't really feel like necessarily a thing that a 00 agent would be picking up, smuggling diamonds necessarily, but it's brilliant how it goes full circle and you end up with Blofeld behind it all at the end. And
in drag.
It's actually a real plot. I mean, it's based on a real plot. And, it's so funny when I think about the plot of this, I kind of go down to three things I look for. And that is no nanobots, no children, and Bond lives at the end. So, I mean,
What about a doo-doo? How about a doo-doo, David? Can we have a doo-doo?
I got a doo-doo right off camera. Don't make me take it on camera.
Yeah.
The do run.
Oh, man. I love it. Love the plot. David, you love the plot. Warren?
I bought the plot.
Yeah, I do.
It's fun.
I'm going to chuck in another song here. What about... I think for most people, I think one of the standout items on this soundtrack would be 007 and counting. And am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's been asking for that. I keep seeing that come up like, please tell me you're doing that. Please tell me you're doing that.
Well, I think they were talking about 007 from the end, though, weren't they? The 007 theme that comes at the end.
They want it all, Warren. It's a very greedy audience.
We would have had more cues, but we were going to do a live show last week in Bradford, and I was going to record another two. We were going to do the White House and Diamonds Are Forever source music. The loungy version of it that's right up your alley.
You don't have that? You don't have that queued up somewhere, Warren?
We had to cancel the show. We were going to record it last week, and I was going to include it as part of this tonight, but because of COVID, and we had a bit of a COVID outbreak in the band, we had to unfortunately postpone the show. So, but I will do it next year. So they will go on YouTube sometime next year. But in the meantime, let me line up 007 and counting. Love this cue. It's awesome, Barry. Here it comes. Oh, that is just such an awesome cue, isn't it? Somebody said in the comments it is very reminiscent of Capsule in Space, You Only Live Twice. I mean, obviously it's that similar kind of thing, but it's just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. And by
Is
the
that
way,
hard to-
there were a couple people that were saying, David, how can you say that about No Time to Die? It's a brilliant film. I really like the film. I just have issues with the ending. That's all. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. So please just no hate comments. I actually like the film.
Fair one.
Yes, I do too. For the record, Citizen Kane, Vertigo, No Time to Die.
So this next section, then we're going to talk a little bit about what I've put window dressing. So the gadgets, the style, fashions, and also throwing in a bit of David's corner here because you've got all those amazing props behind you. So let's talk a little bit about things that we love, that kind of the sort of all the background stuff and gadgets and things that crop up in this film. What things stand out for you? The things that you love, David, you go.
Yeah, I think, first of all, this film, everybody gravitates to that pink tie. And, the pink tie has become an entity to itself. It's almost as famous as doo-doo, quite frankly. But if you go past that, this is such a nice mid-century modern moment of fashion, even what I'm wearing today. But his toweling polo that he has in the beginning, which is recreated by Oliver Brown, it is such a nice capture of time. I love watching this for the style and the moments.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite props, though, I'll say, are some of the simpler ones. So you've got, the air cork opener that they use at the end, almost as a weapon when he opens the cork. Something as simple as the Circus Circus card, but on the back of it. I mean, this is just a simple paper prop. And then everybody needs a Playboy card, right? A Playboy card. But this is, of course, one that actually has James Bond's thing on it, all the way to Slumber Incorporated. So paper props are great. But when it comes to standout, to me, it's got to be Q Branch. So this was an amazing, and you can see this in memory of Andrew Gadget Miser House. This was an amazing friend and collector. And they actually made a limited edition of Q's ring. That he uses. And this thing was made by a prop master. It is absolutely perfect. So to me, this thing is just filled with those bubblegum, wonderful candy moments that just give me a sweet tooth when I think of Bond. What about you, John? I know you love the style in this movie.
John, I've stitched this up here, haven't I? By putting David first because we're just going to be like,
that's a tough act to follow. I'm going to whip out nothing. I love the fashion of this film. It's just ridiculous. I do. I think that little short pink tie, like you've got to be a real man to pull that off. But for me, I love the Mach 1 Mustang, red Mustang that Tiffany drives. I mean, that car is just ridiculous. Put it up. Look at that. And the Bond in Motion here in Los Angeles, I've been 4 times. That's the car that I gravitate to. I just love. It's just
that was your
sexy in 70s. Yes, that's right.
When we did
in David's video. Yes.
There's a video up on my YouTube channel where we went to the Peterson Museum, and I said to John, out of all these cars, if Eon said, John, great job out there, pick one, you went to that one.
Yeah, totally. I love that car. They had the 3-wheeler there too. They had a nice little diamond section. So I just love anything that's like early 70s, out with the hippies and with, disco.
Yeah, and let's check with the audience. So audience out there, quick vote. Everybody can participate. What would you rather have in your house, a stuffed doo-doo or a stuffed cat with a diamond necklace? The choice
Wrong
is yours.
pussy.
While we're waiting for the votes to come in, I have to just mention that I think it's so funny the prop at the start, not the prop at the start, the gadget at the start with the, I don't know what you want to call it, the finger grabber where
the mouse trap.
Mouse trap. I just love the thought that James Bond's been carrying that around for 15 years, waiting for somebody to, he gets to the point where he's almost going, no, you want to you take it. I mean, that is exactly why I could never be James Bond. I'd have gone through 3 fingers before I'd even. He
was ready for the day, wasn't he?
He was so ready.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. How are we going? How are we going with these votes, David? I think it's the cat.
The cat's winning. We got a couple doo-doos, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. Hold on a second. License to Queer
Yeah,
says,
I was going to put that one
as a
up.
gay man, even I have to go for the pussy every time. We could end the live stream right now. Mic drop. Mic drop. Mic drop. That's it.
That is
By the
killer.
way, the entire Bond community is going to be quoting that tomorrow. That's going to be up on social media.
He's definitely absolutely awesome.
Oh
David,
God, that's classic.
show us Q's gadget ring again there, because
that's pretty amazing.
it's going to lead us nicely into the next cue, because that's obviously from the scene at the end of the casino where he's rigging all of the machines to win, isn't he?
Yeah.
And the music. And the music that's playing in the background there, the source music that's playing in the casino, can anybody remember what it's called? Yeah, you got it. You got the piece. It's called Q's Trick.
Trick.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear us playing?
It's one of Desmond's best performances too. Just nonchalantly going down the slot machines. I think it's a brilliant turn by him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is us performing Q's Trick live a couple of weeks ago at Folkestone. Here we go. Thank you. Sorry, I've got to say, David's putting some of these comments up as well. I'm not putting up perfection, Warren.
We both have control. I'm putting up all the compliments.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you. So we've got one more little section to talk about on Diamonds, and one more track from Diamonds before we move on to For Your Eyes Only. And this last one, what I've said is, let's all come up with 3 favorite things, or things that we absolutely love about this film. And it can be anything from as small and silly as a handkerchief to as broad as the soundtrack, or Sean Connery's performance, or whatever you like. 3 things that stand out for you about this film that you love, and also it'd be great to see a few in the comments, and we'll pop those up. Even if you just want to put one in the comments, things that you sort of really love about this film that stand out for you. I'll let you go with one first, David, and then we'll go around and give one, and then go around for 2.
Sure. I'm going to say art design. Things like the bathtubs, things like the environment. Obviously, Ken Adams, the sets, everything around art design is so on point. And as John likes to talk about, I think one of the reasons why he loves Palm Springs, Jill say, Chuck, yeah, well, yeah, that's that. But I think that this is such a taste of the times that it's just wonderful to get a throwback in the art design of what they bring to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Jada? What's your first one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to sort of piggyback off that. I was raised by like a generation that took a lot of photos, and I have boxes of all these vintage photos. They're not going to be lost on a hard drive that has no more connectivity in 20 years. And for me, it's like reminiscing. It's like going through like a box full of old photos. And I love that we're able to see Palm Springs and the United States and Vegas and Holland and and all these places of what it looked like in 1971. Like when I watch this film, it takes me to those locations. I feel like I'm in a time capsule, and I enjoy that, David. And you mentioned that it's the mid-century modern film, and I love that about it.
Yeah. That
it takes me away to a period that I romanticize. It was the year that I was born, which I think is kind of funny. That's the one I came into the world, and boom, it was Diamonds Are Forever. Explains a lot. So I love the sort of the sort of nostalgia of Diamonds Are Forever. I think it's a lot of fun in that way,
Yeah. I'm going to take over with my first one then, and it probably won't surprise either of you or anybody watching to go with a musical one straight off the bat, and it's going to be the Diamonds Are Forever song. This is actually my favorite song of the whole series to listen to. Yeah, which probably surprises people because a lot of people gravitate towards things like Goldfinger and James Bond theme, and of course I love those. But as a musician and as an appreciation of Barry's work, I think Diamonds just has so many tiny parts of elements that build into just an overall phenomenal song. Whether you take that opening riff, which is the 8 sides of a diamond, which is genius, and a hook that it stands on its own. If you took that hook and made it into a song these days, it would probably be a number one song just with the hook and sort of bouncing off that. You think a lot of songs these days just all are based around a hook, but then you've got phenomenal melody in the vocals, incredible lyrics, amazing brass. When you get into the chorus, the rhythm section goes into sort of a doubled up funky semi-quaver feel, which I think is just so awesome. And even just little things like the guitar. There's little tiny things that you have to really listen to the song 2,000 times to even pick up these things that are really in the background. And clearly I have done, but even like all the wah wah guitar, and it's not even just the wacka wacka in the chorus, in the bridge you get
like the wacka wacka.
When it goes into the I Don't Need Love section, there's like this amazing guitar where he goes, wow, 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 wow. And it's like whenever we get a new guitarist in the band, I really spend a bit of time with him. It's like the to be absolutely spot on. It's not exactly in time, and it's just genius. The whole song, I love it. I'm going to hand over to you, Dave, your second one.
Yeah, my second one is, and some people are saying it, I like the treatment of the bad guys and the henchmen in this film. And it's not so much that he's my favorite Blofeld. I like when Bond interacts with him, especially, as you see some of the treatments we've had with Bond and Blofeld, they either work or they don't. This one really works. I love the interaction. They're trying to take the mickey out of each other. They're trying to piss each other off. I love the treatment. And Wint and Kid are perfect. I mean, they're maniacal, they're evil, but they're pithy and funny too, which just goes back to the whole camp of what we're seeing. So bad guys and henchmen, thumbs up.
Yeah, I've actually gonna before I hand to you, JW, just to kind of move things along with it. I was going to go with Wint and Kid as my second choice anyway. So which you covered there, and I said earlier how brilliant I think they are. So JW, what's your second one?
Well, we talked about it earlier. I was just going to say Connery. It's just so I just love Sean Connery in this film. And the older I get, and the more I move into what I call adult contemporary, phase of my life, I just can relate to this sort of there's an ease to this film, to the soundtrack that I really respond to. Sort of the killer of Thunderball. I don't have it in me anymore. I just don't have it in me anymore. And I love I love the ease and the playfulness of how relaxed Connery is. But I'm, you know what? God, you can't believe you hit us with this question. I like the rewatchability of Diamonds Are Forever. That's my favorite thing about it, is I can throw it on, rewatch it, and just derive so much pleasure from it. Can't say that about all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go with my third one now, and actually it's been mentioned a couple of times, and I've just thought I'd go for something really small and kind of insignificant in a way, and it is that aquarium bed that they have, or is it a bed or a hot tub? Because they're using it as a bed in the film, aren't they? And I mean, that's so unique. I wonder if that's, I mean, do you guys know, is that a real thing, or was that just a thing that they made for the film, or is it really a hotel room somewhere?
And that was Ken Adams. Right, I believe so.
Yeah.
Bill, give me a big thumbs up on that. I'm almost positive that set and that bed was designed by Ken Adams.
Yeah.
If not, I want to. Hang on, let's stop talking. Look at this.
Yeah, Serena Parks. I so enjoyed working with Sir Sean and Sirs Broccoli and Hamilton. I love doing the role of Thumper, and so honoured to have been chosen to. Oh, bless you, Trina. If I'd have known that you'd have been here, I'd have given you the link and you could have come on and said hello. It's absolutely awesome to see you here in the comments.
Yeah. That's going to be my other favorite thing. Trina, how's that?
Yeah.
I mean, she comes on the screen. Again, you stop doing what you're doing. You're not looking at your phone during the Bambi and Thumper scene at the Elrod house. You know, it commands your attention.
Still, when Trina comes on screen, you stop what you're doing.
You better believe it. Literally, that's what I just did. We love you, Trina.
Have we done 3 for everybody, or have you still got one to do your third, Dave?
I got a little one real quick. It's so easy. It's the very beginning scene, his outfit, that whole like terry cloth, polo, the sandals. It just looks 70s Bond. It's just so cool, and you could wear it today. So I had to finish up with a style one.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Well, we've got one more track. What's left? Is it? Oh yes, a few people have been asking about this one, the Airport Sauce and On the Road Queue. And when we come back from that track, we're going to be starting on our For Your Eyes Only celebration for this second hour. And look at that, we're bang on an hour. I've nailed it. That's
crazy.
That's amazing. Okay, so here's the last cue from the Diamonds soundtrack. I hope you enjoy this one. This again live from a few weeks ago at Folkestone. Airport Sauce, On the Road. So we're back, and we are all about For Your Eyes Only now. We're moving on. David, hang on, JW, you're muted. Hang on, I'll mute you.
Hang on a second. Before we go any, I've been enjoying watching the faces of the musicians. And Warren, it has to be pointed out, as soon as the saxophone started, you looked over at him and you went, yeah. Did you see that? That was hysterical, man. It was like you were, I don't know, in a rock band grooving out.
Man. I mean,
your facial expression when that sax kicked off was priceless.
I mean, this obviously was a different time to the lockdown session. We recorded all the other stuff on tonight, but the 4 days that we recorded all that Bond music, I just 4 of the best days of my life. Absolutely amazing. Can you imagine being on stage live performing all this music? But musician or not, if you guys were on stage and all this music around you, could you just imagine what you're feeling? I wasn't sleeping the nights between the sessions. I just wasn't sleeping. I was so pumped up on adrenaline. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was good. Classic.
So, David, you've done a quick change.
A part of me wishes people could see the craziness that just went on. Besides changing an entire outfit, changing position, changing the lighting, getting my drinks, getting the agenda. It's all good. It's all fine.
Very good, very good.
What is that? Oh,
that was the remix. Cue the music remixed by Paul
holy cow. I thought we won something. Warren, are you there?
Can you hear me now? No?
There we go. There we go.
Sometimes my little desk drops out at me, so I tend to reboot it. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. There we go. So let's kick things off with the Fury. Now, look, with one thing we've got to mention, it's about a celebration, but there was a bit of sad news today.
Yeah.
Very, very sadly, we lost Jack Headley, of course, played Timothy Havelock. And I think it's very important we just take a moment and just say, rest in peace, of course, and very, very sad to hear that news. A ripe old age that he was. And it's always very sad to lose a member of our Bond history. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very sad. Very indelible part, too.
Yeah.
In the movie.
But we're going to, obviously, in his memory, we're going to celebrate the 40 years since the film. And let's start by, reflecting about how you feel about this film. JW, let's start with yourself. What are your feelings on For Your Eyes Only?
I believe it's favorite Roger Moore. It's at the top overall. It was the first Bond film I ever saw in the theater. The first time I was ever in a movie theater by myself, and I saw it twice in a row. That's where it all started, went out and got the album and the legs and the crossbow and Roger. I mean, come on, man. If you don't dig that, I don't know what you're doing here today. Right. It's it's like as good as it gets. And I just love the turn of Roger as like serious Bond. And I think the sporting cast, the locations, the music, the story, it's fantastic Bond all around. So huge fan, super excited about this.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, David? What about the film for you?
Yeah, and I agree with Roland. It's hard to believe that it's 40 years. It's a little scary.
I know. No doubt.
I zoned out a little bit then because I saw his comment and the first thing, and he said, 40 years since this film. And I was thinking, hang on, what's going on? Have I got it wrong?
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
This is, to me, a grower, not a shower, in the sense that this has become a much better film for me over the last 10 years as I've mellowed and appreciated it. Roger Moore's performance in this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The environments, but to me, and maybe we're going to get in this as a side discussion, the plot of this is so well formed. It's iron tight. And as I think
simple, about it's so simple. Yeah.
It's simple. And it actually, it brings back some of the elements of the Fleming book that were so important. It doesn't get rid of them. It doesn't throw them into the bin. It just holds on to them, and it keeps the characters true from beginning to end. So this, I agree with John. It's my second favorite Roger Moore film. It still doesn't beat out Live and Let Die, sorry, but to me it's like right there now.
Yeah, I think it's a terrific watch, and I kind of don't want to lead too much onto what I'm going to sort of talk about the plot and the story, which kind of I think I will. So I'm going to actually just mention. I'm going to move on to the soundtrack, and we'll talk a bit about the soundtrack, because I think this is such an underrated soundtrack. But I actually think, I was thinking about this morning in a funny sort of way. These two soundtracks could almost be the wrong way round, because if you think about Diamonds and how lighthearted and funny a lot of the story is, the soundtrack is really playful and it's got a lot of fun to it. But the actual story of Your Eyes Only in places is quite dark. And there are lots of parts of the Diamond score which are dark, and the For Your Eyes Only score doesn't really reflect that. And I think if you'd had a score like, for example, the License to Kill kind of approach, which is a really much more dark and dark score to a darker film, it would probably have worked better for people with the film. But I think if you just take the soundtrack as a listening experience, it's so me. I mean, the 80s vibe to it, I love it. And it's also so, and hopefully you'll all agree when you hear us do some tracks from it, it's so up Cue the Music Street. It's something that we can really get our teeth into. But I really, really do adore this soundtrack. It obviously is not going to be up there with a Barry, but if you put it aside from the Barrys and just say, look, they're untouchable, For Your Eyes Only for me. I love listening to this soundtrack. It's definitely a go-to one when I really just want to have some fun, especially in the car when I'm struggling to stay awake or whatever. This is one that keeps me awake all the way through. What about you, David?
Yeah, I agree. And it's the strangest thing. The conversations I usually have with people with For Your Eyes Only is, oh, that's the Bill Conti one. Like, it's almost like this remark that they let it slip out of the corner of their mouth. And I mean, as somebody that loves to drive and listen to Bond music, this is my go-to. Like, there are recent Bond films that I don't drive to the music because it doesn't get my shoulders going and beating. This moves through you, and I think it actually embeds us emotionally. So yeah, I'm a big supporter of it.
What about you, JW?
Oh man, I mean, Runaway, forget it. It's out of control. It's been well documented too. My love for Make It Last All Night. Most powerful song ever committed to vinyl.
It's an hour.
It's coming in a minute, so to speak.
It's sick, man. I mean, yeah, there's this. It's just a rockin' soundtrack by a world-class composer. So I could listen to it all day. It's one of my favorites. But it's got the that early 80s, and it's got to be said too. I mean, John Glenn bringing it. 1 of 5 right out of the gate. I mean, just crushed it. So it's one of the few soundtracks that I'm happy Barry did not score. I don't know that I've ever said that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
I think the thing is with anything from this period of the 80s though, as well, it's never going to date as well as stuff either side of it. It's so, that sound that they were going for at the time is so rooted in that period, and it's one that you listen back to it now and it is so iconic from the era, especially as use a lot of synths and things in there as well. It was very much sound of that time. Yeah. But let's kick things off again the only way we can with the title track. So this is For Your Eyes Only.
So much in me that's new. I never felt until I looked at you. Through your eyes only for you. You see what no one else can see. Now I'm breaking free for your eyes only for you. The love I know the nights are never cold. You really know me, that's all I need to know. Maybe I'm an open book because I know you're mine, but you don't need to read between the lines. We are only for you. You see what no one else can see. Now I'm breaking free for your eyes only for you. The passion that collides in me, the wild demand inside of me, only for you, for your eyes only.
I always
a quick reminder that if you see a compliment go up about the band, or it's me, it's just when I comment, it also looks like cue the music. So I just want to remind everybody who came in for the second half of the show, that's what's going on.
yeah, it's not me having myself.
Self-congratulating, right.
Yeah, do you know what? I feel like For Your Eyes Only is such an underrated song. I really do. I think it's. I really love that song. I think it's great. But what the next sort of subject we're going to be talking about? Cast. What standout performance from the cast? Anyone want to kick? In fact, I'm going to kick things off just in case you nick my one, because I reckon this might be an easy go-to one. But he really does steal it for me, and that's the Miles Colombo Topol performance. I think it steals the screen every time. Did I steal yours?
Yeah,
Nope.
a little bit.
Yeah, he is just brilliant. He's such a great ally for Bond, and I'm so glad that he's not one that we sacrifice at any point. My mind's gone blank now. From Russia with Love. The guy
Grant.
with
Karen Bay.
Karen Bay's kicking off. He's another one that's just such a lovable character who steals the screen when he's on it, and we lose him. So it was great not to lose Columbo, and especially as he's the hero at the end. He's just great. I love him. What about you, JW? What were you going to?
Well, no, I mean, I've got an easy backup. It's Melina. I mean, we're talking about some of the greatest hair and most beautiful eyes in all of film history. Seriously, that's a Pantene ad if you've ever seen it. She has the most unbelievable hair.
She does. Doesn't she?
She's striking.
And she looks the same. She looks the same today. It's
really interesting.
Well, so I met her at an event a few years ago that I did where I put up a bunch of Bond props and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my wife was with me, and we're both saying, like, what is going on? Like, her skin is perfect, everything. And this is decades after. And she was talking to us, and she lives with her husband on an olive oil farm. And literally what she said was she drinks 2 shots of olive oil a day in the morning, and it keeps her skin and hair perfect.
Ordering olive oil.
I think some good genes in there too, right? I mean, she is stunning.
No, olive oil.
Exactly.
Olive oil.
Exactly. David's got stock in olive oil.
And onto Amazon Prime.
Oh man. Yeah, that's funny. She's
stunning.
What
about you?
Just for the sake of variety, I'm going to say Chrysatos, Julian Glover. I think he's so subtle. I mean, he's not this big, maniacal, long monologue bad guy, but I love the fact that this is one of these films that serves up a turncoat, someone who's the bad guy, who isn't. And if you didn't read the books, you really didn't know, especially back then where audiences were maybe a little bit more gullible. But I think he served it up perfectly. And even the sheer hate, the seething that he has at the end is so authentic. So I thought he brought it.
Yeah. He's great in anything. When he shows up, you just go, okay, here we go. Last Crusade, Sherlock Holmes.
He had. I was just going to say they had a real purple patch, didn't he? And around then with films in that sort of, especially in that sort of genre of that,
Empire Strikes Back. I'm trying to think of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. So let's have a bit more music then. The next thing that we're going to have. Oh, this is a Pure Eyes Only suite. So we've got 3 tracks in here. It starts with "Take Me Home," goes into a bit of Submarine, and then one that a lot of people have been asking for in the comments, "Runaway."
Oh boy.
Aha. Right, let me get it going. Enjoy. This is about 8 minutes or something. So see you on
That's
that
great.
side. Yeah. Here we go. gotta love that.
I don't know why everybody was thinking I was going to do a change. You know, it's not like I'm going to get into his full outfit that he wears when he's keyholed. Come on, people. It's not that predictable.
So
That's one of my favorite.
Go on,
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Favorite track. Favorite track.
No. Yeah. Go. Just go. Sorry.
It's all right. That's okay. I mean, Runaway is awesome. I'll serve it up to you to chat about it, but later on, because it might come somewhere in my top 3 possibly. What about locations then for this film? Who wants to kick off with favorite location? Yeah, go, Dave.
I've got a passion for this one because when I visited it, to me, I felt like they just rewinded me back to the movie. It hasn't changed a bit, and that is Cortina. So we just heard some of the music. Obviously, someone even said, "David, I know you got the Olin mark." Yeah, I do. The bobsled run, all of those things, either remnants of it or the actual things are still there. And the people of Cortina, they're incredibly charming, but more importantly, they love Bond. Like they know that's a part of their history. So when you visit there, they're not like, "Oh gosh, another Bond fan." They drink it all in. And so Cortina to me is such a highlight. And then when I see images of Roger Moore in Cortina sitting, on the Lotus, it just, you can't help but think of this film.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, JW?
I love Bond in the snow, period. Anytime Bond's in snow, I'm a happy guy. I love movies that are set in the snow, generally speaking. There's something about the cinematic landscape of snow. And it's a shame we never saw Mr. Craig on skis. But yeah, anytime he's somewhere in their snow and they're skiing, and it's one of the greatest chase scenes, not just in the Bond franchise, but in films, period. I mean, Someone said, all right, motorcycle spikes coming down the ski slope. I dig that. That's it. That's Bondian right there. Take that, Tom Cruise. And it's great. So yeah.
I mean, I was going to potentially go for the Christatos hideout at the end, but because we've had some really cool variety with snow and Corfu and everything, I'm going to go actually with the underwater scenes in this film, because I think potentially this is my favorite underwater sequence of the series, especially as you've got some really nice stuff down there with when they're diving on the ruins, and then equally even the submarine parts of this actually really genuinely tense and not overly long, like perhaps some of the other underwater sequences get criticized for in other films. But what are you going to say, John?
You would love this then. This is a Neptune sub ballast ball that they used in the film.
No way.
So this would be right up your alley, Warren.
Yeah.
Show and tell.
Absolutely. Don't use it all up. We've got show and tell coming up for you.
You haven't even scratched the surface of this film.
I was going to say, look at all that stuff back there.
Absolutely. I mean, okay, let's save it. Let's have another track then. Now, we might have to tape JW up here for this. We might have to strap him into his chair, because we're going to, in fact, we'll let you talk about it afterwards, okay? This is Make It Last All Night.
Oh, man.
Enjoy the motion. If you just relax and push it back, there is no limitation. Ooh, 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 can you feel it inside you? Ooh, 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 can you feel it inside? time and level out. It's not an innovation. If you count to 10, I'm back again. It's not just calculation. Ooh, 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 can you feel it inside you? Ooh, 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 can you feel it inside me too? Ooh, 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 can you feel it moving smooth and slow? Ooh, 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 ease on back and let the loving flow. Easy, baby, if I burn out, there's no need to feel so tight. Be loving, be gentle, be patient, make it last all night, last all night. Be loving, be gentle, be patient, make it last all night, last all night. Be loving, be gentle, be patient, make it last all night, last all night.
Now, I had to break and chuck us in because JW were laughing all the way through that.
Dude, I didn't know you were going to do that.
I had to because you're just such good value on this song.
Dude, you know, first of all, I have family listening today. That's the song I want played at my funeral.
You know,
Carrie, how about Carrie just bringing it? That was Carrie Unplugged. Like, you know, I've never seen her. She was really like, she was doing her thing. Like, I think we're all very pleased about that.
oh yeah, she loves to sing about filth, Kerry.
Yeah, no, she was bringing it. So was the guitar player too.
Oh, hang on, David, you're muted. Hang on, there you go. Hey,
I'm glad I was muted. You didn't hear my guttural roar.
I have to say, actually, shout out for you, JW, because if anybody hasn't caught it, go and listen to the James Bond Radio podcast review of Fiore's Only soundtrack. Was it you and Chris or you and Tom? I can't remember.
It was Tom and I, and it was the hardest I've ever laughed, and it's caught on.
It's absolutely hilarious.
We lost it. We lost our minds.
I challenge anyone to get through that podcast without crying with laughter. It's
By the way,
brilliant.
Warren, I got to tell you something. We have the best audience. We've got at times like 276 people watching this, and they are so damn funny. Like, we don't honestly need to do anything. They are hysterical.
Yeah,
That's great. Yeah.
Amazing.
it's hard to keep up with all the comments. Actually, I know we're both trying to put as many in as we can, but yeah, everyone's been really getting into the spirit of this tonight, and it's all been about fun and enjoyment, which is the great thing. You know,
Yeah.
we're keeping the negativity away from this tonight. It's just positivity. We need it today. But so what we're talking about next? Let's get away from making our story plot, and we touched on it earlier. I'm going to just start off by saying I think that the story and the plot to this is so brilliantly simple, and it's sometimes I think some of the films get a little bit kind of carried away with something that's so complicated, and actually this film proves that you can have a really simple idea. Something's missing. Bond needs to get it back, and there's a third party involved. And what I really like about it as well is that the Russians are not actually the bad guys. They're just like, yeah, well, why wouldn't we want to get it if we could? You know, if we're not going to go all out to get it, but if we can get it, great. You know, and they basically get somebody else to do dirty work for them. And I just think that's just a really nice difference to a lot of the other films. Jade, just take a moment to compose yourself.
I'm still trying to hear David smoking a cigarette. Was that a real cigarette, David?
Hell yeah. What do you think? That was CGI and special effects?
I don't know, man.
On our budget.
Sorry, the vape pen or something? No,
that's a real cigarette. That was actually Jawana Wonga from the Man with the Golden Gun.
Oh, wow. Nice.
One
nice.
prop out. So, Warren, I'm actually glad you said the word simple, because I find that the best Bond films have a very simple plot, and they work all the characters around that very simple plot. Everything's fine. There's a disruption. There's a challenge. there's a solution, and then there's resolution, and that's it. And for some reason, in some of the Bond films that don't work, we tend to complicate that. This is not that. This is uncomplicated, right. So we can enjoy the characters, we can enjoy the fun. And, I like to escape. I've told you this. This is my goal of a Bond film, is to escape and to walk out with a swagger and an excitement to meet the real world. This does that in spades, which is why it's grown on me over the years, for sure.
Yeah. What about you, John?
Yeah, I mean, I love the simplicity of it. It's just this large, ridiculous, like looking 80s calculator or something that they're after. And I love that at the end, no one gets it. Roger destroys it, Yeah,
that's brilliant.
I think it's a brilliant ending to a very simple plot. You're right. It doesn't matter what they're chasing, right? I mean, at the end of the day, don't overcomplicate it, David. You're absolutely right. It doesn't. Yeah, it's not about that. The MacGuffin, right? Make it as simple as possible. We don't need, The
very definition of the MacGuffin is, in the beginning of a film, people think the MacGuffin is the core thing they're all chasing. And at the end of the day, it's really about the characters trying to find themselves. So even like you said, the Russians, they're like, détente. I mean, it's cooperation. They're both trying to get to the same place at the same time. That's all it's about.
Yeah.
Totally.
I think it's brilliant. I would love to see a return to that.
Yeah. And actually a subplot to this, there's a lot of kind of revenge and a kind of emotional attachment to this for both for Melina and Bond, trying to sort of avenge deaths of various people through this film. And with that in mind, let's play one track which is called Melina's Revenge. Part of it is Melina's Revenge, and part of it is actually, I think, is from the opening sequence when Bond is in the helicopter. What am I trying to say here? With Blofeld in the helicopter when he's been kidnapped in the helicopter. This cue basically is two bits put together, isn't it? Melina's Revenge. It's part of just after her parents have been murdered, and it's also part of that sequence from the helicopter. Here we go. Just after we finished that take, I said to Jez, the keyboard player, I said, "Oh, I thought you were gonna go till about Thursday with that last note there." Sorry, David, I keep trying to unmute you. Yeah, you do it.
It's cool. I'm really enjoying watching the band members, as well as
Yeah.
listening to the music. And on that one, everyone up until now has looked quite stoic. Keyboard player, very serious, and this one, all the band was grooving out. Everyone's head was moving a little bit. The drummer and the guitar player are loving these For Your Eyes Only tracks, aren't they? I mean, they're just ripping. Yeah.
I have to say as well, like when the band looks serious, it's not that they're not enjoying it. We all absolutely love it. It's just that we're focused on
Yeah.
It's
no
not
criticism. It's no criticism, but I just love the way that all of a sudden people's head starts, grooving out on this one.
It's something we talked about in the last show. Actually, I said to everyone, guys, I know you enjoy playing this. It's okay to show it. We're just concentrating on getting it right.
But nowadays in 2021, with the last movie, if you smile too much, you're automatically, a CIA cutthroat. So
Canceled.
You're the guy. You're the guy.
So what we got next? We on to window dressing next then. Gadget style, fashions, and David's corner. So yeah.
I'm so unprepared for this. I had no idea you were going to do this.
That looks so beautiful.
Christ, that looks dangerous.
Yeah, so this is the Barnett crossbow. This is the correct one from the film. What's unusual about this one is it is signed by Carol Bouquet, who I got to do a evening stint with. There's a much roly-poly David standing next to a very olive-oiled up Carol Bouquet.
She looks great.
Yeah.
She looks amazing even today. She stands the test of time. But to me, it's all about the little things when it comes to this film. And, for example, little props like this, like the underwater when they had to trace, where the attack was. I mean, somebody actually took the time to make this. And there are some things that you see on the screen, like when they get this classified information, you're wondering what's in these envelopes. They actually, for the movie, made interiors of all of these pieces. So you've got Gonzalez and his fingerprints in there. I mean, the amount of detail that sometimes don't show up. And of course, everybody's favorite, I think, a lot of us have collected this, the dove pin, which has such a great plot point when Roger Moore throws it, onto that one scene and then kicks the car over. And by the way, people were giving me so much grief because I walked on to this little pool of people with a No Time to Die watch on. I have since changed it to the correct Seiko Roger Moore one that he uses in the film that gets the little message, so nobody should worry. But to me, it's about the existing props. Like the binoculars that he takes the pictures with are actually existing things. I mean, you can get these all day long from Tasco. And then, of course, and I know Pete is going to get on me about this, but it's worth it for authenticity, is a stuffed parrot. Now, you could get toy ones. They just don't look right. But if you get a stuffed one, or you buy one live and then have it stuffed, it really looks... No, I'm just kidding. This was obviously a toy parrot. I'm going to get so much hate mail for this. It's going to be ridiculous.
Someone's asked, David, how the hell do you get these things? I was going to ask you, I'm particularly I wondered about that crossbow, because actually the crossbow looks more beautiful up close in the camera than I even remember it looking in the film. That is one serious piece of kit. Where did you get it from?
It's absolutely gorgeous. So this is a combination of really hunting online for many years, but I'm also very blessed that I've got a lot of different, I'll call them prop masters out there, people like Ed Maggiani, who are constantly looking for these things. They spend all day and night looking on eBay and going to gun shows to get these types of things. And they're extremely rare. They were rare when they first came out, but they're incredibly rare after all of these years. And to find one in this condition, I mean, you can see it glistening right now with the signature. And the scope and everything, still works.
Wow. So that's actually a legit piece of kit. It's not a prop made thing, or is it actually? It's actually.
This still has firing capabilities.
Wow.
But then you've got little things like when you're a completist and you're a geek like me, you want something for the people that come in that only know, certain weapons are things that are found, like in Cortina. You've got to have these around. Simple to make and delicious.
Yeah. So tell us just about style then, David, of this film, because I'll just say one thing that I think that what you're in now, I love Roger in that. in that outfit. I'm not so keen when he's in the kind of the middle part, when he's in the cardigan stuff. That for me is not my favorite look for Bond. But I do think the last part of the film, particularly when he goes to what am I trying to think of? Mind's gone back. When he goes to Columbo's ship and he gets the outfit there. From then onwards, I love what he's wearing for the rest of the film.
Yeah, the mountain climbing, which NPL replicated. This is the Oliver Brown top that they did, which is a nice homage. Quite frankly, you could also get a $14 blue V-neck, which he just wore, a very simple V-neck with like some light chinos. But to me, this is Roger Moore's second best style film from a clothing standpoint. Again, Live and Let Die has to win out. But some of the Roger Moore films, they get a little bit, you got the safari collars that look like he could hang glide off them. These are outfits that you could wear today. I've seen John Williams wear this very shirt just in black because his contract says he's got to wear a black top.
It looks good on screen.
Looks great on screen, and it makes you look 40 pounds.
But I have that top, David, that you're wearing right now, and it's beautiful quality. It's wonderful. It's a lovely top.
Silk. Yeah,
absolutely.
What do you think, Dave? Sorry, JW, about styles and stuff for this film? Are you a big fan of it?
Oh yeah, I think it's beautiful. I mean, I think it's of its time, and I think it's beautifully chosen, I suppose, by whoever the costume person was. David, you probably know. For Your Eyes Only, I think it works together collectively. It's not egregious. It's not comical.
No.
I love the bright ski outfits and stuff like that. So I think it's spot on. I think, David, you're right. I think it is, probably the best. It stood the test of time. Yeah.
And here, I'm going to throw out a prediction. I believe this is going to be one of the films that next year for the 60th anniversary, you're going to see a minimum of 3 to 4 brands gravitate to. And I think you're going to see yellow polo shirts, yellow short sleeve shirts, the different things that you're saying maybe modernized a little bit, but you're going to see For Your Eyes Only next year, I think, in a big way.
The fact that you're saying, I think, David Zaritsky knows.
No.
There's no thinking. There's a conversation that's been had. He's seen something. I'm not buying it.
I know nothing.
What about gadgets then? We must touch on gadgets because there's actually not. This is for this sort of period of Bond. It's quite simplistic, isn't it? There's not a massive range of really kind of outlandish gadgets in this film, are there? It's back to basics.
No, it's really back to basics again. Even like these types of things are existing pieces. There isn't any fantastical, and to me that reeks of the Risiko as well as the For Your Eyes Only going back to Fleming, which Fleming didn't have a ton of gadgets in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the one that looks now a little, I suppose it looks a bit silly back from then, but it's actually a commonplace thing is the identification recognition equipment they use. It's just commonplace now, but the way it's sort of deployed in the film, maybe. I mean, it does look like him, you have to say.
Yeah, that was, and only in a few hours they were able to nail that from Roger's description. Oof.
Yeah. But no, great. Some really good stuff.
Totally fun stuff. Absolutely fun, nonsensical. What else are we going to do on a Thursday night before Christmas?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can't believe it.
Let's put another bit of music up before Terry Bamber loses his mind, because I know he likes more music, less chat. So what we got next? Gonzalez takes now, is it drive or dive? Because on the score they call it takes drive, but Gonzalez doesn't drive anywhere. He takes a dive, doesn't he? And that's the end of him. But it's that cue just after that moment when Gonzalez gets shot and they're escaping from that scene. So this is Gonzalez takes a dive or drive, depending on what you want to call it. Another another belting track. JW, you're just loving the
Yeah, man.
phrases,
This put me in a good mood.
God, that's the
great
aim.
music.
Oh, look,
Ooh.
piece of the car.
That's
Oh,
all that's
brilliant.
left.
That's
We're
funny.
coming up to the last track of the night for this.
What?
I know. It's gone so fast. But we've got to talk about, before we do that, we've got to talk about our favourite three things from this film. And again, opening up to the comments for people to think of one thing that you really love about this film. It can be anything from as small as the crossbow to as big as the soundtrack or the locations or whatever you like. It's totally up to you. So JW, you kick us off first. What's your first?
I love Roger kicking the shit out of the side of that Mercedes.
Oh, you've nicked one of mine.
I mean, you just don't get Roger Moore like being, that just cutthroat, just, doesn't care. I love it. I love it to see him avenge his friend. So, a serious, badass Roger Moore, number one.
Yeah. I'll follow up with that because that was going to be one of mine sort of further down, but it definitely is there. I think Roger really needed a moment like this somewhere in his, just to show that just to remind us all that, he is a badass secret agent killer. And I know that Roger Moore kind of has been sort of said that he kind of liked to maybe be a little bit away from that side of things. He found it hard to do that, but I'm really glad that they pushed through with that and had that moment because it was really good.
I think he was adamant about it too, right? It was John Glenn who said, no, you got to do this. Roger didn't necessarily want to have that moment. But I'm glad he did.
I'm going to make this quick too, because one of mine is Roger Moore's portrayal as one of the closest to Fleming's character that I've seen in any of the films. And it's the little things that he does, like even telling Melina, when you go out for revenge, dig 2 graves. One for them and one for you, or it just, those types of moments are huge for Roger.
Yeah.
I
mean, starting out at Tracy's grave, right? What a heck of an opener. Him standing with flowers over his wife's grave. I mean, right then and there, you knew this was not a laser battle in space, which I love.
Yeah, well, one because I was going to say the moment about the car being kicked over as well. And one thing, just to follow up on that as well, I'm so glad that they didn't do something kind of a little bit silly with it. Just like with the pin would have been the thing that sent the car over the edge. That would have been such a missed opportunity. I'm really glad that he throws the pin in and then he kicks the car. I think that was the ultimate way to do that moment.
Ooh, bless you!
Wow, didn't hit that. Delete.
What about your second moment, JW?
I feel like I mentioned it. Gosh almighty. Melina's hair. I got to keep coming back to Melina Havelock and those beautiful eyes and that gorgeous head of hair, man. I love that. I love that Sheena Easton is in the credits. First time that happened, right? It was the music video MTV ushering that in. I love Sheena Easton and her hair as well. In that video, I love the fact that they weren't really underwater, that was all done with like air bubbles or what was it, right? Isn't that insane when you first learn that? Like, crazy. I cannot get my head around how well that worked. I
watched it this week and I knew, and I didn't know that until I heard it on one of the JBR podcasts. And I was watching it thinking, right now I know I'm going to look for it. And I still couldn't really tell where it was. It's just amazing.
It's amazing. And for those out there, listen to the commentary, the John Glenn commentary on For Your Eyes Only. And he talks about all that. So, pistachios, hashtag pistachios.
I got to go with, and a couple people have said it already in the chat, I got to go with the ski chase scene. Because not only do I think it's beautifully filmed, perfectly filmed, action-oriented, suspenseful, I really feel like Bond's in danger, which is a treat in any of these films. But on top of that, the music feels like it was born out of this scene. It doesn't look like somebody created it. It was just, of course it has to be this music. And when people, bang on Conti for the music, I think this is actually perfect. I couldn't think of anything else besides this.
No, I think it's. In fact, David, I was going to do a different one second, but I'll put this one next because it links perfectly. And one of my top three things in this film is Runaway, the cue. I absolutely love it, and it's one of my favourite cues from the whole series. Actually, action cues. I'm not saying that Bill Conti writes as perfectly Bond music as John Barry, of course not. But I think this one's so exciting. So yeah, that definitely comes in my top three. What about your last one then, JW?
This one's for you, Rob. I saw his comment. He's right. The poster. This is just a rocking poster. I mean, the greatest legs of all time with a crossbow and a little teeny Roger placed strategically in between them, off in the distance, doing what is the Roger Moore James Bond pose. Right. It became the icon. Right.
Yeah, it's
it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal poster that I don't think the art department could get through in this day.
And the backwards bathing suit, you know that story, right?
Oh yeah. I've seen all the different versions of it, right, in the poster book. It's cool.
It wasn't sexy enough, so they put the bathing suit on her backwards, and that's what they went with.
Wait, what? I did not know.
Oh yeah,
this.
you didn't know this.
So I know they had to change it. They had to do an illustration.
No, when they were doing the poster, the woman posing, had a bathing suit on, and they were doing the back of her, and it was covering a large portion of her. And they said, it's not working. They had her go change out of the bathing suit, put it on backwards. So her front of her bathing suit is actually over her bum, which obviously covers a much smaller area. And that's why you get all that cheekage.
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sure everyone's glad they tuned in today.
Yeah.
We're taking the show in a different direction. I love it. But the music matches perfectly with that story. Honestly, Make It Last All Night, Runaway, all that wah-wah guitar. Come on. Kill it.
What's your third one, Dave?
Yeah, my third one probably has to be, and I've said it, but I'm going to say it again just because I believe it's so, the plot. I mean, the plot is such an incredible part. And to me, when I start to think about Bond 26, because who hasn't, I think to myself, I just want a very simple plot.
Yeah.
Don't go out to prove anything. Just go back to very basics. I want 3 different chapters. Yes, I want my tropes, but this delivers so well on that. Simple.
Yeah, I think I think the last 2 films, they've definitely taken their eye off the ball a bit with the plot. For me, particularly, but I think they could do that. Would be good, definitely. Yeah. My third one's may feel a bit of a cop out because my second one was Runaway, but I'm actually going to also go with a broad stroke of the whole soundtrack as one of my favorite things about this film. And I make no apologies for it because they are 2 things that I love the soundtrack. And as a standalone thing, Runaway is awesome. But yeah, as I think everything I mentioned about the soundtrack at the start, it's just something that I really enjoy putting on. But it can go on any time, any place, and it just lifts me. It's brilliant, absolutely awesome. Look, we're going to have we're just clicking over 10 o'clock, so we're going to have one more track from For Your Eyes Only. Then we're going to have a little goodbye from the 3 of us. We're going to come back to say cheerio and wish everyone happy Christmas. And then, folks, if you want to stick around, we're going to go and we're going to leave 3 little preview tracks of our upcoming jazz concert, which is going out on the 2nd of January on Cue the Music's YouTube channel. So we'll be back in a minute. First things first, we've got one more track to go, and it's been talked about a bit in the comments. This is A Drive in the Country. So,
Damn. Wow.
there we go.
Yeah.
What a way to round out For Your Eyes Only, hey?
That's like the fireworks crescendo. Like they just
Yeah.
all go up in the air. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a great soundtrack. I really do love it, and I hope that people watching have come away with an even bigger appreciation tonight, because it's a great film, great soundtrack, and it's been fun spending time with you guys and with everybody watching and celebrating two massive milestones: 50 years and 40 years. Great way to finish the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say something to Warren. Hates what I'm going to say. He hates these types of things, but I want to just give the audience a little bit behind the scenes. You know, Warren comes up with these ideas, and usually it starts out like this. Hey guys, wouldn't it be nice around the holidays to just send a little bit of cheer out there and get everybody together to celebrate something together that we're so passionate about? And he does this selflessly. He does this without business mind. He does this out of his own heart. So Warren, I just, from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure everybody feels the same way, thank you, and to everybody at Cue the Music Show for doing all of this in a very selfless way and putting a smile on our face, if just for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh, bless you. Well, same as you. It's just about doing something part of the community, because that's what I am. I'm a fan like everybody watching, and it's just want to do something that we can just do together and enjoy. So if a couple of hundred people have enjoyed it tonight, then that's me happy. And what a great way to finish the year off, getting together with friends and just talking about what we love about these films. Hey?
Now you got to say something nice, JW. Good luck.
Yeah, no. I'm listening and I'm waiting for my turn to talk. Warren, your contribution to the community is it cannot be measured. And this music. I mean, if you're a Bond fan, you love this music, and to kick off the holiday end of the year. Weekend with all this amazing music. I mean, it really has helped me, and I'm sure it's helped a lot of people kind of like get into the spirit of Bond again, hearing all this beautiful music. I mean, I don't know that there's two soundtracks that I, would want to hear more of than right now. I mean, it's like, this is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing that you've done, and all the hard work you've put into it and putting this together, not just this show, but like the band and recording and persevering through COVID and, being faced with, the not being able to do live shows and canceling gigs and not giving up. I mean, it's the spirit
amazing. Of the holidays.
Yeah. I mean, what you've done is amazing. We've all sat around and while we've talked about ranking our favorite Bond films, I mean, you've put this band together, and you've put this band together, and you've played all this incredible live music, and you've just given it to all of us gratis. And I mean, bravo.
Thank you. Well, just a reminder, 2022 is our last year. We've got 5 shows. We might actually have another sneaky one coming in, actually, but 5 shows in the UK, possibly 6, finishing in the West End in October. So hope to see lots of you there. I'm not holding you guys down to it, but I'm hoping that 2 of you are going to be able to make it, but I'm not going to hold you to that because it's a big commitment to come from the US. But
we're there.
Fingers crossed.
David and I are there 100%.
And your mum, you've got to bring your mum.
No, she's listening. Say hello to my mom. She was one of those girls that were like screaming when the Beatles played, pulling her hair out. And later in life now, I mean, she's like, oh, I got the Cue the Music T-shirt. I'm like, what? She's like telling me when you guys are playing. She's fallen in love with your music. So
listen, and JW and I tend to travel together nowadays. So we'll be here together.
We've done it. Showed up in exotic places, and we will be there. So 100%.
Well, listen, we're going to sign off and wish everyone a really, really happy Christmas. And we're going to tune out. Before you go, everyone stay tuned. We've got 3 more tracks. These are arrangements from our jazz concert that's coming out live on YouTube, 8:00 UK time on the 2nd of January. If you want to see another concert, do come back and watch that. So this is a little preview from that. 3 tracks from the jazz stream. Thank you for joining us. David, John, thank you so much for your time. And see you all very, very soon. Have a great Christmas. This is
Merry
Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Great seeing you guys. Thanks, Warren. Thanks, David.
This is You Only Live Twice from the jazz concert. Cheerio.